Coming up tonight, gas prices are surging around the nation. How are the prices in our area?
Plus, locals are feeling the effects of sudden rent increases. Is there an end in sight?
Also ahead, how Catterson is celebrating International Women's Day.
WTOP 10 Nightly News begins now.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News. I'm Brian Saccone.
And I'm Trina Catterson.
We have a lot of news to get to tonight.
But first, let's take a look at some developing stories.
The Oswego County Sheriff's Office is currently asking for help locating 17-year-old Iman Buford. Iman is about 4'10", has black hair, and has a face tattoo on her right inner forearm. It is currently believed that she is in the Buffalo area. Anyone who may have seen or have information regarding her location is asked to contact the Oswego County Sheriff's Office at 315-349-3411.
A fire broke out at 8:30 last night at the Center Point Apartments on Maple Street. The Garden Apartments house 6 units on 3 floors. A total of 18 apartments were affected. Residents were able to reach shelter, however, one victim was treated for smoke inhalation at Oswego Hospital. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. Anyone with information is urged to call 911.
President Joe Biden is signing an executive order to ban the import of Russian emergency resources, a significant amount with widespread bipartisan support that intends to deprive President Putin of economic resources.
The announcement to ban Russian oil, natural gas, and coal imports was made in response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The U.S. is making this move without its European allies. Biden spoke about how the ban will cause a price increase at the pumps here in the U.S.
This is a step that we're taking to inflict further pain on Putin, but there will be cost as well here in the United States. I'm going to do everything I can to minimize Putin's price hike here at home.
While Putin didn't specifically say how he would minimize the impact on U.S. consumers, he did warn companies to avoid price gouging during this time of crisis.
With that being said, gas prices in the U.S. are hitting levels never seen before, in large part due to the uncertainty caused by the Russian invasion of Ukraine. John Lorenk reports.
The cost of filling up is going up.
88, yeah. That's a lot more than I thought it'd be.
According to the Oil Price Information Service, the national average for a gallon of regular gas is $4.14 as of Monday night. That breaks the record set during the summer of 2008 by 3 cents.
We're definitely watching our pennies on where we spend it, but for the most part, I mean, it's kind of kicking our behind.
Analysts say the crisis in Ukraine is fueling the latest price hike.
Because of the actions of President Putin, because he invaded a sovereign country, that created instability in the markets.
While the White House said oil producers have the profits and permits to drill more, some Republicans say the situation can be improved from within.
This White House seems determined to go hat in hand and beg every bad actor around the world to ramp up their own fossil fuel production, but still will not stop their holy war against our own American energy production here at home.
Americans probably won't be getting a break in the near future. The Oil Price Information Service says a national average of $5 a gallon is possible. Many California commuters are already paying more than that.
Not a thing. There's nothing to do except deal with it.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
AAA reports the least expensive gas in the U.S. is found in Missouri at an average $3.63 per gallon. That's up about 30 cents from last week.
Gas prices here in Oswego start at $4.19 and can be as high as $4.49. However, analysts believe that gas is likely to break and go past the $4.50 mark, an increase in price not seen in more than a decade.
Officials around New York State have made the decision to allow people to take their masks off. Governor Kathy Hochul is still recommending that young kids aged 5 to 11 get vaccinated, but the consensus around the state is that masks are no longer required for anyone vaccinated or not. However, while the masks come off, health officials are recognizing some counties as medium risk in terms of COVID transmission. This includes right here in Oswego County.
And just as Oswego went mask optional, Syracuse University will move its masking level to yellow. This means that masks will only be recommended indoors and in the presence of others, and outdoors in large groups for those who are vaccinated. Unvaccinated students will have to continue to wear masks in the presence of others, regardless of setting. Another change, randomized surveillance testing, will continue with reducing the number of vaccinated individuals required to test each week.
And rent is increasing steadily across the state as we return to normalcy from the pandemic. Some New York residents facing possible eviction with the sudden hike in prices. WTOP's Melanie Higgins has the latest on how this surge is affecting people right here in Oswego.
It has been an absolute nightmare.
A nightmare. That's how Dawn Peters describes renting in New York State today.
It's scary because there is the possibility of not having a home.
Dawn is a single parent living with her children in Fairport. Her rent increased nearly $300 after her old landlord sold the house they've been living in for 8 years.
It's just mind-blowing. I mean, I get it that the landlords feel like they have to make up for the losses they've taken, but it's like, what about us?
According to apartmentlist.com, an online rental advertising service, the monthly rent for the Syracuse metro area, which includes Oswego County, where I am right now, has raised 30%. That's nearly $300, and over the course of 5 years.
During the pandemic, there were government programs that first stopped landlords from evicting people, allowed people to not pay rent, and this caused a lot of problems.
Steve Carvel, a professor at Cornell University, has been studying the rent increases seen around the state. He says landlords shouldn't be criticized too harshly.
Most of these types of places are not owned by things like slumlords. They're usually like individuals who bought a couple of rental units.
Now, with eviction moratoriums allowing people to hold off rent payments and certain pandemic-related rent incentives now gone, Carvel says that he believes rent will level out with time, calling it a cyclical process.
Melanie Higgins, WTOP 10.
Thank you, Melanie. Since the beginning of the pandemic, officials with the National Council of State Housing Agencies say nearly 1.2 million New Yorkers were at risk of eviction at the start of the pandemic.
Today is International Women's Day, and to celebrate, New York Governor Kathy Hochul hosted an International Women's Day breakfast reception at the state capitol. At the reception, Governor Hochul gave a speech. She spoke on the true fight of women's equality beginning in Seneca Falls, and to celebrate the journey we've been through and those in history that struggled.
This is a day to celebrate. It's a day to look back in history and talk about, yes, the people who struggled, the women who had to face such adversity, who stood up against the tides of their time, regardless of what was going on. They marched forward. They are women who are sick and tired of being the property of men, who says, yes, I have a voice that needs to be heard.
Hochul also named a park in Kingston, New York, after Sojourner Truth, an African-American woman who stood against slavery.
Severe weather storms last night caused damage across New York City and the greater tri-state area. Wind gusts were as strong as 60 miles per hour, knocking down trees and power lines, leaving tens of thousands of people without power. One of New Jersey's busiest lines of transit was suspended indefinitely after a tree fell and crushed crucial power infrastructure.
Now let's take a quick look at the weather with Storm Team 10 meteorologist David Rienzo.
Hey there everybody, I know today had some pretty nice weather, but don't get used to that. We can see that chilly weather moving in for this week to have a pretty cool midterm week, and that should roll into the weekend where we've got a pretty big winter storm rolling in, which should make traveling for your spring break a bit tricky, but hopefully it won't be too bad. Stick around after the break for my full forecast.
Thank you, David. Later tonight, a convoy in D.C. making its rounds again to spread their truth to lawmakers.
Plus, we'll have continuing coverage of the Russia-Ukraine conflict and what this means for the millions of refugees leaving Ukraine now.
Athletics. Aaron, there were 6 big points. This is the one you've been waiting for. This group has never beaten Cortland.
Getting started with some men's soccer as the Lakers had 2 conference matchups.
For half of the Lakers' goals this entire season.
Offense is key. You talked all about scoring goals.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News.
For the governor race with a strong lead, former Governor Andrew Cuomo is...
Barlow announced the completion of a large building mural in downtown Oswego.
The renovations on the Hewitt Union Building, turning it into the new Hewitt Hall.
And as we move into tomorrow, that rain is going to be in our area.
Moving to the Diamond now, as Sweet Caroline got a lot sweeter last night.
Life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire, but you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
We've been marinating chicken in all sorts of liquids for 24 hours. These are vitamins and minerals and things that you need, nutrients. The chicken speedy is a staple of our culture.
Hey everybody, I'm meteorologist David Rienzo. Let's take a look at your live radar at the moment. As you can see, Oswego is looking pretty calm right now. But if we go just a bit north, we'll see that in the north country around Waterton and in Lewis County, they're looking at some snow and rain, which we should be seeing around tomorrow. Before we get to that though, I want to take a look at tonight. You can see that pretty cold temperatures, 24 as a low tonight with some moderate wind speeds coming in from the west. As I said before, we've got that calm wind, but increasing clouds will be moving in tonight, which will be rolling into tomorrow, where we can see that rain and snow showers for most of the day, but sort of high for tomorrow, around 40, with the progressively higher wind speeds for coming from the southeast. So you can expect that precipitation to start tomorrow morning. It should peak around 4 or 5 tomorrow and drop into the afternoon, where we're going to be seeing some rain, but around Thursday it's going to be a lot drier. So tomorrow, as I said, we're looking at a lot of precipitation. You're looking at the cloudy morning to start off your day and rolling into afternoon with some rain, and then into the afternoon you'll be seeing that snow with some period in between where you can expect some of both. Temperatures for tomorrow in the 30s for most of the day. Looking at the 7-day, as I said before, Wednesday you've got that snow and rain, with Thursday being the patch of dryness, rolling into the weekend where we can see this storm progressing from Friday night into Saturday and parts of Sunday. So be careful when you're traveling home, if you're going home for the weekend, or wherever you're going. If you're staying here in Oswego, though, you can expect some 40s for the next week and snow Tuesday. Don't go anywhere, though. You're watching WTOP 10.
This job looks perfect. It says you need a high school diploma. You've got one of those, right?
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
I got that.
Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
Major Discussions is the new show that explores the stories of students right here on campus. I personally came here to SUNY Oswego for the broadcasting program because I love to hear people's stories and to do work just like this.
Welcome back to WTOP 10 Nightly News. Jumping back into things.
The leaders of the People's Convoy are taking their case to Capitol Hill today. Republican lawmakers are continuing their push to end workplace vaccine mandates and other measures put in place to limit the spread of COVID-19. It's currently not clear what will come from the meetings, but convoy leader Brian Brassey says the trip to the Capitol is a large step forward in their campaign.
Proud Boy leader Enrique Tarot.
I go to these Stop the Steal things is because I don't think that there's enough transparency in our election.
FBI agents arrested Tareo today in a dawn raid at his home in Florida. In his initial court appearance, Tareo was named in a superseding indictment that includes 5 previously charged Proud Boys defendants. This indictment alleges that he continued to direct and encourage the Proud Boys both prior to and during the events on January 6.
Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, is calling on the West to secure Ukrainian skies from Russian attacks. He is calling out the lack of action from world leaders, saying they are equally as responsible for the genocide. Zelensky says that the decision to secure Ukrainian skies can easily be made by those in the West and is necessary to protect cities in Ukraine from air bombings and rockets.
I will address the people of the world if the leaders of the world will not put full efforts to stop this war, this genocide, of course. We continue talking to our partners, to the leaders, to the MPs of all countries who know how to help Ukraine.
The Ukrainian president continues to fight alongside his people. As of right now, officials say Kyiv, the capital, is still under Ukraine control.
Amid the constant Russian attacks, millions of Ukrainian citizens are fleeing from their lives as the communities come under siege.
As Russian attacks intensify in Ukraine, the humanitarian crisis deepening by the minute.
This horror cannot be endured. I cannot express it. The fear, the crying children.
Ukrainian authorities say at least 21 civilians were killed in a Russian airstrike overnight in the city of Sumy. Several attempts to evacuate civilians failed earlier this week. Western leaders accusing Russian forces of targeting pre-approved safe routes.
Targeting civilians is a war crime, and it's totally unacceptable.
According to the United Nations, nearly 500 civilians have been killed since the war began, but officials believe the number is even higher. More than 2 million refugees have already fled the country.
We have not seen in Europe a crisis escalating so fast since the Second World War.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky attempting to shame the West to save his people.
The fault is with the occupants, but the responsibility is with those who still haven't secured Ukrainian skies from the Russian killers.
But the U.S. and Europe must walk a fine line, facing a nuclear-armed Russia. Tuesday, President Biden amped up economic pressure by banning Russian energy imports, while NATO is still ruling out a no-fly zone.
We have a responsibility to ensure the conflict does not escalate and spread beyond Ukraine.
In Washington, I'm Chris Wynn reporting.
It is estimated that the crisis has created an exodus of more than 1 million people from the country. New York, already home to the largest Ukrainian immigrant community, has mobilized to send support to Ukraine and accept more refugees after federal officials approved special status for nationals leaving the country. And coming up in sports is Aaron Valentino's.
So Aaron, can you give us a quick preview?
Of course I can, Trina. After the break, March Madness is in full swing for Division III basketball, and it's about to begin for Division I. Also, both Oswego lacrosse teams played today. I'll let you know how it went down after the break.
Oh, very enthusiastic.
Athletics. Aaron, there were 6 big points. This is the one you've been waiting for. This group has never beaten Cortland.
Getting started with some men's soccer as the Lakers had 2 conference matchups.
For half of the Lakers' goals this entire season.
Offense is key. You talked all about scoring goals.
Welcome to Understood.org, a free online resource for parents of kids with learning and attention issues, with personalized recommendations, tools, and daily access to experts to help your child thrive. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
It's March in Central New York, and that means 2 things. Playoff basketball and lacrosse are underway. Good evening, everyone. I'm Aaron Valentino. Let's start across Route 104 in Maxfield Gym, as it was announced today that the Oswego men's basketball team will head to Marietta, Ohio for the Sweet 16 of the NCAA Division III basketball tournament. The Lakers got to the Sweet 16 by defeating Hood College and Keene State over the weekend. The last and only time the Lakers have ever played Marietta, well, it was in the Sweet 16 3 years ago, where they lost 78-61. Tip-off for this game is on Friday at 7 p.m. Now to the turf, as the Oswego men's lacrosse team had their home opener today against Clarkston, and it was not a successful day for the Lakers, as they lost 13-0 to the Golden Knights. Sebastian Grieger of Clarkston had a day, scoring 7 of the 13 goals for Clarkston. The Lakers still have a little ways to go before SUNY Ag play begins, as their next game is Saturday at 1 p.m. in Morrisville. Oswego women's lacrosse also played today, this one on the road against St. Lawrence. The Lakers did fall to the Saints by a final score of 18-7, as Oswego are now 0-4 to start the year. Neve Lay was able to score a hat trick for the Saints, while star Sela Wiley put 2 goals in the back of the net for the Lakers. Oswego's next game is at Laker Turf on Friday at 4 p.m. against Morrisville. It's March, of course, and there's a lot of college basketball to play this month, and that is no different for the Syracuse Orange. The Orange begin the ACC tournament tomorrow against Florida State. Syracuse went 15-16 on the year, meaning their only real ticket to the big dance is winning the ACC. Tip-off for this one is at noon tomorrow in the Barclays Center. Now let's stick with the hardwood and check out what Julius Randle and the New York Knicks did last night.
Where the crowd awaits.
And there you see Knicks taking on the Kings. Let's get it started with Domantas Sabonis going up against Mitchell Robinson. The toilet bowl flush. It goes in. Now we're going to get to Julius Randle. He would have a night, folks, in the corner for 3. Bang. He has got this one. Knicks trying to come back in this game early on. Then it's a quick dip out to Harrison Barnes. Corner 3. He's got that one as well. Sacramento, they want this win. Now here's R.J. Barrett. Cooks up, steps back, fires. He's got it. The Knicks, they want to stay in this one down by 16. Here's De'Aaron Fox in the third. Spins, goes up against 2 Knick defenders, and gets it to fall. But the Knicks were not done. Julius Randle, a hop, skip, and a jump away to R.J. Barrett's three-pointer. R.J. Barrett, he would finish with 29 in this one, but now it's Julius Randle's turn. He pulls up for 3. He's got that one. The Knicks, they have their first lead of the night in the third quarter, and it's Julius Randle again. This one, a step back from the top of the key. Bang, the Knicks now pouring it on Randle, having some fun in Sacramento. It was R.J. Barrett again. He's going to receive a quick pass here from the wing. He has got it. A big night for R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle. And one more time, Julius Randle not done. He steps, he starts cooking, he steps back for 3. Got it. 124-104. The Knicks are up by 20. And the Knicks, they go on to win this one by a final score of 131-115. Julius Randle, 46 points in this one. The Knicks improved to 27-38, and the Kings fall to 24-42.
Thank you for that, Aaron. Now time for the cutest story of the week. Our friends at the Oswego Humane Society bring us our pet of the week.
This week, we have 7-month-old Princess Peach. She prefers to be the center of attention, as a princess often does. For more information, contact the Humane Society at info@oswegohumane.org. And David, Mike, you could give us a final check of the weather?
Yeah, sure. So the thing you just want to be concerned about is the rain tomorrow and the snow tomorrow. And also watch out for that precipitation coming in on Friday night. Might ruin your plans for the spring break travel, but I mean, hopefully you can figure out a way to get back home or wherever you're going.
Definitely.
And Aaron, if you just want to wrap up some sports for us.
Yeah, MLB labor negotiations still ongoing. The Players Association and Major League Baseball did meet today. As far as we know, according to Evan Drellick of The Athletic, a no deal is done.
And that's our report for tonight. Be sure to stay tuned for Perspective Entertainment.
Thank you for watching. Have a great night, everyone.
We've been marinating chicken in all sorts of liquids for 24 hours. These are vitamins and minerals and things that you need, nutrients. The chicken speedy is a staple of our culture.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News.
For the governor race with a strong lead, former Governor Andrew Cuomo is...
Barlow announced the completion of a large building mural in downtown Oswego.
The renovations on the Hewitt Union building, turning it into the new Hewitt Hall.
And as we move into tomorrow, that rain is going to be in our area.
Moving to the Diamond now, as Sweet Caroline got a lot sweeter last night. The